Welcome in Black Line Crew. How are you guys doing today? Happy Sunday. Thank God it's Sunday. It's a good Sunday. It's beautiful here. Hopefully the weather's good where you are. And if it's not, hopefully it will be. You know, hopefully you guys had a good week. Getting ready for the week to come. It was an interesting last few days online. Today, Wolves in Finance released a video, gave us something to digest in regards to possible foreshadowing if Trump does get impeached. And I don't even know that he will. Um, I mean, it's definitely possible. But even when presidents get impeached, it's not even like it's guaranteed that they get ousted. Look at Clinton. Look at even in what happened to Trump before. So we'll see. But if it did happen and then JD took over, it would be interesting if he selected Erika. We wouldn't even have a choice to vote for her. That'd be crazy. I guess with the way everything's been happening, anything's possible, you know. But anyhow, thank you guys for joining me today. Yesterday, took the day off, spent it with family, and celebrated the kid's birthday. It was a good day. Much needed break. The first day off since I started the channel. And I got to say, it was nice, but it was hard to be away from you guys as well. I enjoy seeing you guys here and, getting to spend time as a community, right? All right, let's see. Let's click some of the administrative boxes for a second. As you guys come in, please hit the like and the subscribe. Yesterday, I found out from some subscribers that they're not getting notified of the lives. That it used to put the thumbnail like in the queue on their page pretty consistently, and then it just stopped. Please make sure okay, so here's a couple things. When I created a ticket support for YouTube to ask them, because there's just been some weird things on the channel that I noticed over the last few months, the trajectory, and then like it just was a massive drop off. It did say when I went back and forth in email with people there, they did like a diagnostic. There's no restrictions. It says they're not holding the channel back, and I guess I have to take their word for it. But it did say, out of the people that subscribe to the channel, very few have clicked the all button. So if you just click the subscribe, it automatically puts you under personalized. I don't know why it does that, which is like nothing unless you personalize it. So don't just hit the subscribe. When you do, you have to click on it again, the little bell, and you have to click the all so that it notifies you every time I do a live. I only do lives once a day. I do them about the same time every day around 6 p.m. I don't do shorts, and I don't bombard my viewers. I don't bombard this community with senseless, posts and things like that. So you'll only get one notification a day if you hit the all button, and it'll just be when I do a live. All right. So, but please, as you come in, hit the like and hit the subscribe. Help get this channel moving back in the trajectory that it was back in mid-February. Yeah. So what else? I think that's really the only other administrative kind of thing I needed to do for the channel. All right. We're going to get right into it. If you guys know, Erika Kirk has made a couple, well, not real appearances. One was an appearance. One was in a classroom or some kind of room. It looks like a classroom, speaking with students. We're going to look at some of the very limited clips I was able to pull off the internet. One is the Turning Point Action headquarters opening in Vegas, where her and Tyler Boyer spoke. We don't have like their full speech. We just have what this one guy recorded on his phone, and then what this local news channel covered. We're going to look at that, and then we're going to look at this one recording of Erika Kirk from inside like a classroom, where she's talking about how she didn't read Charlie's book, the book Stop in the Name of God. the one that she went on a book tour and told everyone it's such a great book. But then it just came out. She just said she hasn't read it, which is pretty interesting. But all right, let's start here. All right. And I'm going to skip to the part. Let's see. Let's see if this is.
This event packed, standing room only with some big names in Republican politics showing up for the opening.
The room erupting into applause as Erika Kirk takes the stage, now leading Turning Point USA, following the death of her husband, Charlie Kirk.
I remember Charlie saying a little bit ago, he's like, gosh, we need to increase the conservative footprint in Nevada. I'm so grateful to have a headquarters here. We're going to be visiting.
You know, it's really unfair. Okay. And they both, you know what? I got to find that one. I think it's in this. I think it's in the other clip that I'm going to share in a second where she's like, okay, so sorry, let me get this thought out. They respond to how the public responds to them. All right. And I mean, that's what a PR person does, right? It's like, how are we being received with the image and the message that we're sending? Okay. Them talking on behalf of Charlie, they clearly were trying that for weeks. The response was not good online, and the public at large was not okay with it. And so now they're responding by saying, okay, I'm, Blake Neff and Andrew and Erika Kirk. I don't want to speak on behalf of my husband, as if like they didn't try to do that, and she's like, I'm not going to speak on behalf of my husband because he's not here, but I want to echo his sentiments. Right. And it's like, she just did it right there. He just told, my husband just told me before he passed away that, look, if they had done that initially and it was in keeping with what the public knew he was saying and doing, like there wouldn't have been a pushback. There really wouldn't have been any issue. It's only because they continue to say things that contradict everything Charlie said and did before he was assassinated. Okay. And that's really where this, pushback from the public has come, was like, that's not what Charlie was saying before or what he said all these other times in the past. And now, now they're trying to act like, okay, we're not going to speak on behalf of them. And then they speak on behalf of them. I'm going to try and fix my lighting. I don't know why it does this sometimes. Sometimes the camera like automatically tries to adjust and it looks like it goes like shadow bright. I'll try to stay the same distance from the camera. Hopefully it doesn't bother anybody. All right, let's get back into it.
The organization, based mainly out of Arizona, now expanding its presence here in Nevada. Chief Operating Officer Tyler Boyer sharing the move is part of a broader plan.
The work that we have in front of us here in Nevada is part of what we're calling the Red Wall strategy.
I think this other one actually is a much better clip. Let me go straight to this one. I think the only reason why I pulled that other one up was for the end, because guess who is there? Stacey Sheridan, and you see her at the very end for the ribbon cutting, and one of them gives a different image. Yeah, this one doesn't even have it. All right, let's just do this one. All right, cool. We can look and see what
Metro's here.
What the inside looks like a little bit.
Love it. Oh, this is great. Men can't get pregnant.
Make sure to buy some merch or take some free merch. I don't know. Let's see.
I'll be looking up the newsletter on local, by the way. So we need to.
What does that say? Restore the American family. Rise. We are Charlie. I wonder, remember guys, when people, they were told if they donated initially, you would get a 47 hat, like a Charlie 47 hat, or you would get, I think you would get a hat. I don't know which hat. Maybe it was like Make America Great Again or something like that. Or it was the 47 hat if you donated money. And then people donated money, but then they got these little rubber bracelets in the mail instead. These red ones over here on the table. And I just find that interesting that those are there. All right, let's go to Tyler.
Guys, how exciting is this? We are most excited about the work that's going to be done. And the work that we have in front of us here in Nevada is part of what we're calling the red wall strategy, the red wall plan. Is that Republicans have for far too long retreated, sat on our heels, waited too long, done too little, fought too much with each other. And the outcome is that we.
And so for those of you that don't know, Turning Point Action is the 501. I think it's the 501c4. I'd have to look it up because they have Turning Point Faith, Turning Point, and then they have Turning Point Action. This is their political action committee, like their PAC. This is their political arm of Turning Point. And Tyler Boyer is the chief operating officer of Turning Point Action. It is the part of Turning Point that does the, what is it? Push out the ballot and getting people knocking on doors and things like that. That's why Tyler's there.
Speak on behalf of my
Here we
husband.
go. Let me back up. Sorry.
I'm not here to speak on behalf of my husband, but I am here to echo the sentiment.
That is the same thing. Okay. Okay. That's the same thing. I'm not here to speak on behalf of my husband. I'm just here to echo the sentiment that, I mean, it's the same thing. I don't know why she's acting like it's something different, because then she follows it up by saying the thing. But this is what I was talking about. So they're responding to the pushback for them consistently trying to tell us like what Charlie was saying, what he would be saying now, his stance on Philly, Iran, Trump, the war. And because there was this pushback from us holding them accountable, now they are making it very clear that they're not trying to talk for Charlie. Okay, just echo his sentiments. No difference.
That I do know that he would hate to see how fractured our movement is right now.
They're at fault for that. Do they not realize that? Do they not? Well, Turning Point is at fault and Trump is at fault for that. That is why we're fractured. We're fractured because we all felt the big issues that we wanted the Republican Party and the Trump administration and America to focus on. We wanted to be America first. We wanted no foreign wars. We wanted accountability, transparency. We wanted people to go to jail over, Mr. Jeffrey, and anyone that participated in that in any way. And I don't know, you guys caught Barron today. I get it now why he went over the trip advisory Erika's trips to different countries in Europe, and that she would like blog on it and give, reviews of like different places, and that it's tied to emails in the Jeffrey emails, places he frequented and on the same dates and locations, and even the very specific hotels. The very few that Erika even gave reviews on were ones he would frequent. And the whole tea thing at the Ritz is super interesting. It's like, yeah, like a young person. First of all, like, how did she afford doing any of that? The timing is super suspicious, and it's in the years before Charlie. And then it's when Jeffrey was over there, the same places doing the same things. Pretty weird. And yeah, I also think it's weird that, TPUSA chooses what they respond to. Like there's so many questions we have, and we've brought up so many things that are red flags for us, and they just don't answer and respond to it in any way. But then somebody points out that like, oh yeah, on September 11th, she made $1,000 or more purchase at Alo, in-store purchase. And then Elizabeth McCoy responds and's like, that was me. That was me. So they want to respond to some things, and they'll take time out of their busy schedules, and they're clearly paying attention to the things we're saying. but they choose to respond over stupid stuff. It's like, okay, this one I think mattered, but I mean, like, out of all the things that mattered, could you not respond to the other things that we've brought up? Also, I will get to supers as they come up. I want to do a better job to encourage people to write comments, to ask questions. And so as soon as they come up, I'll post them on here and I'll read them, I'll answer them, or I'll read them out loud if they're just a comment that someone wants to make. So please get your supers in as we go. All right. Let's go back to Erika.
And so I just ask and I pray that all of you harness that in a way that is glorifying to the Lord, and also that is creating something and investing into something far greater than yourselves. But this is such an honor. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to have a headquarters here. We're going to be visiting here.
Make sure the meeting.
All right, I don't want to hear this guy talk. But the other thing, so I was talking to my wife about it. So a couple things about the Aloe purchase and why it matters. It's a very expensive brand. I get that she makes a lot of money. But at the same time, like, Charlie never lived very lavishly. You know, I mean, once he married her, that's when we started noticing all these things in his, you know, appearance, his wardrobe changed. But even then, it was still very modest. Like, he didn't even like jewelry until she like forced it on him. But okay, if she wasn't trying to portray herself as this traditional Christian, modest Proverbs 31 woman, then it wouldn't be an issue. But on top of that, she's running what is a Christian organization and wants to be a Christian female role model. And I have the same bone to pick with pastors. Just because your church grows really big, it doesn't mean you start taking a bigger salary. It doesn't mean you get to now increase your quality of living to a point that doesn't meet the medium quality of living of your congregation. Like, you should never be out earning like everyone in your congregation as the pastor. They're giving their money to you. You should never, your annual salary when you're running a Christian organization or you're running a church should never exceed what is the mean or median of your congregation or of your donor base. That extra money, as your company, your church, your organization grows, that money should go back into the organization. It should go back to the church. It should go back to the people, not to you. And so I get it. She's lived a certain quality of life, but 2,000 on, or 1,000 or 2,000 on 2 wardrobes is just crazy. It's not modest. It's not in keeping with a Proverbs 31 Christian woman, a Christian role model. She's saying that she's trying to get her biblical studies degree, right? She changed it from like Christian leadership to then now it's going to be like a doctorate in biblical studies. She's leading Monday Rise Ups or whatever, this Christian Bible study, podcast, which she's been doing for a while. With no real training or experience at all, or education to be able to espouse on scripture at all. But she's doing that. She runs a Bible 365 app, which is teaching people how to read through the Bible in a year. She is modeling herself as a Christian female role model. So out of touch. Doesn't realize that, like, flying private, $60,000 one way to fuel up her jet and to fly that jet. It's just so gaudy and not a good way. And so lavish and above means. It's just not, I don't think it's appropriate. And that alone is an issue with the Aloe purchase. And then on top of that, the fact that, she supposedly, it's because she rushed out of Arizona to get to Utah because of the assassination of her husband and didn't have time to pack, didn't have time to put a bag together, couldn't have asked someone that was coming along later to just grab things. But supposedly she does an in-store purchase at Aloe for $1,000 or $2,000. It's just whatever, dude. It's just disgusting. All right, here we go. Why was she using her maiden name to shop? Yeah, that's another good question. Yeah, that I forgot about for a second. Don't know. Elizabeth didn't answer that. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So they will come down off of their Hezekiah, we're too busy building to answer any questions. We're busy building. They'll come down to answer certain questions, but only the ones that they want, only to then run away and then, ignore us again until another ridiculous one is that they'll come down and answer, but only to the points that they want. I don't know, man. Also, like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's so bizarre, the things they choose to do and not do. And they wonder why they're still under the microscope, why we're still suspicious of them, why they're not digging themselves out of the hole. They just keep digging the hole deeper. Under her leadership, it's like they know what they're doing and they're intentionally doing this, but I don't know why, or they are just so complete. It's like Trump. In a way, it's like Trump. He's like, yeah, America supports the war. Did you see that polling CNN put out? 100% of MAGA supports this war in Iran. Give me a break. No, they don't. No, they don't. Come on, dude. No, they don't. Ugh. They're all just out of touch with everything, and they just believe their own BS. So now look at that. All right. This is Stacey Sheridan right here. Okay. We got Tyler. Then we got Erika. I don't know who these people are. And I was looking for security to be nearby. Like, where's Dan Flood? She gave him a raise after her husband was assassinated. How is that not suspicious? He should have been fired. Brian Harpel should have been fired. I think Brian Harpel left. The security team left, but Dan Flood got a raise, even though he is the one that was Charlie Kirk's personal security. I don't know. Is that Cabot Phillips back here in the suit? Let's see. No, that's not. I'm trying to look at some of the people in the background.
Take the bottom. Okay.
There's Mikey McCoy. Do you guys see him? He's right here in the back, right here. If I back up for a second, you can see him as his face. So he's going to be right back here. That's Mikey. Watch.
The bottom.
Right there. You see him in the suit?
Okay, ready, everybody? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right. He doesn't really say, oh, he gets a picture with her, though. Is it just a still? Yeah, it's just a still picture. So this is a security guard right here. That doesn't look like Dan Flood to me. I don't know who this guy is in the hat. I can't tell if that's Elizabeth McCoy or not right there. And I don't know if that's Andrew Colvett or not right there. Let's see.
You can get video of that. I was talking to Joe Lombardo, our governor.
All right. Let's see if there's anything else really good here. Or it's just this dude with his gnarly goatee walking around, and then he like eats a burger and forces everyone to watch him shove his face full of food, which is seriously just like one of the grossest things I can't handle watching people eat. That's just a weird sensory thing I have. All right, let's see. All right, cool. This is up. I'm going to show you guys this. It's going to be weird audio, but hopefully we can hear it.
The last few chapters, and it's not because of timing, it's just because my foot's not there yet. Because once there's only so many firsts you get in your life, and there's going to be the first and last time that I read that book for the first time, and so I'm really just trying to put my time on that. But it's a beautiful book that talks about the importance of being able to just silence the noise for a little bit and focus on what's important and eternal and true, and spend time with your family. And it's just, again, his last part in words. He could have written a book on finance, like he could have done anything, but instead he literally is trying to remind us that keep holy the Sabbath, but not only that, like understand deeply why you're.
I had to turn it up really loud so that you guys could hear it. I'm going to keep going, but I've also learned that even if it's a small clip of something, if I play it start to finish uninterrupted, that's when people from their own channel can say, this person used 100% of my content without adding commentary or criticism or anything to it. And so I always have to, I can't play something from start to finish uninterrupted. But I found I'll turn it up again so that you guys can hear it.
Other than that, the other books are probably Curious George, because I read those on repeat for my daughter, and other random books like that. But Charlie was really big, and I encourage you guys to have this mindset too. He was really big in our family of not having a book budget. So
Okay, I had to turn it back down, or because if I were to start talking right when without turning it down, you guys would have been like, "Why are you yelling?" I'm not yelling, I swear. Can you guys hear me good now, though? We got the green one. I can turn that up. There we go. All right, there was another one. Let's see, where'd it go? Okay, that's the same one. It's just, and it's the same length of time. All right, let's hop back.
Aware of it. I think as you said.
Okay, Blake. This is where Turning Point is trying to tell people how to discern a good content creator or a not good content creator on online, who to listen to, who not to listen to. So let's see. So this, here we go. I want to share this. This was a recent interview that Joe Kent did on, what was this guy's name? And this guy's been on Tucker. He's been on Tucker before, Breaking Points with Saghar or something. I forget his last name.
I want to turn a little bit to some comments you made with Tucker Carlson. You made some very ominous comments about the Butler assassination attempt and about Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I want to be super clear. Like, do you think that there was foreign involvement in the Charlie Kirk assassination?
The only thing that I'll say for certain is that we did not get an opportunity to fully investigate the potential for foreign links. I'm not saying foreign governments, but I'm saying foreign links. That was NCTC's role. And I think just even a casual observer of the Charlie Kirk case will say, hey, like there was, I know we got the guy that.
Wait, you guys couldn't hear her at all? You guys could none of you guys hear it? Hold on. So I see this. Jim Bear said, hey, can you tell us what Erika Kirk said? We weren't able to hear it. Like none of you guys were able to hear it? Oh, wow. Yeah. Matt, can you tell us what she said? Yeah. Yeah, of course. I can tell you guys what that's crazy. You guys couldn't hear it at all, though. So the Erika Kirk clip is her pretty much telling this group of students about the Stop in the Name of God book, but that she hasn't read it because she realized that it is the very first and last time that she will ever read that book for the first and last time. And so she's putting it off because that's too hard for her to handle right now. And then she talks about like Curious George. And then she that's the book that she reads with her kids. And that, what's another thing she says? Oh, that literally Charlie could have wrote any book, like a book on finance if he wanted to, but he chose to write a book, encouraging people to take time for themselves and for their personal relationship with the Lord by keeping a Sabbath, by like turning your phones off, not doing electronics, and just spending time with yourself and family. Which, yeah. And then, I mean, how can she go out and tell everyone to read the book and buy the book in good faith and she hasn't read it herself? I agree with Barron, Barron is like, It's not like she's not reading things, you know? And like, why wouldn't you want to read this? This is like the last book he wrote. I mean, if he wrote it, I know he wrote most of it, but even come August, September, he said he wasn't done. It had to go through editing review, which then they could cut things out or tell him to like maybe add things to it. So it wasn't in its finished form when he passed away, when he was taken from us. So yeah, why would she not want to read it? You know? Yeah. So that's what she said in that clip. I don't know why you guys couldn't hear it though. Can you guys hear this audio?
Has his fingerprints on the gun, so it sounds like it's a slam dunk case. But most people, they know that there was folks posting online ahead of time that like Charlie Kirk's going to die at UVU on this specific date, and so it seems that the investigation is complete. What I can tell you from our vantage point, from what NCTC's function was supposed to be, was investigating foreign links. And without getting into too many details, I can just say we didn't get the opportunity to fully run down every lead with foreign links. I'm not implicating any government. I'm not implicating any people. I'm just saying we were stopped from finishing our job.
And that, dude, so literally every time I've watched everything Joe Kent has done, the only appearance he's done that I haven't watched yet is the Catholic for Catholics event where he speaks. And I haven't seen Candace and Carrie Brigitte Bowler's speech. I'm going to get to it. But he's been so balanced. Joe Kent is not attacking Trump. He's not saying negative things about Trump. He's not even attacking like Philly. He's just being like, and he's not even attacking the FBI. He's just being honest. He's being very matter of fact that he had more leads to run down and to check off, and they didn't let him, and they kind of shut him out. And that all of his requests for information and questions just died. They just stopped responding to him and his team. And then with the whole war thing, like he's just saying, yeah, they knew back in Midnight Hammer and, after the bombing of Fordo that they were going to come back and ask to do regime change in Iran, because for Philly, they feel it's like an existential threat that they're under as long as Iran is and that regime was around. He's not attacking anyone. He's being so careful with his words, honest and transparent. Like it's such BS for like Officer Tatum, Gary at Paramount, Ben Shapiro, Graham Allen, Dave Rubin, all of these, fake men. They're all fake men. They're not real men. They're fake. They're phonies. And I'd say that to their faces. So if you want to reach out to me, I'll say it right to your face. You're not a real dude. Give me a break. You're attacking Joe Kent. You're not going to convince me you're a real man. You can try. See how that goes. All right, we got here. Apocalypse Now, thank you for your super. Have you played the Nepo Billionaire's Son video yet? Absolute best summary I've heard so far about the EKCK's roles. Look, yeah, I've watched it. He's not credible on everything that he's saying. He's making a lot of accusations and allegations. Really, the only real thing that he's even able to say definitively is the whole Allo purchase. Everything else, yeah, I mean, he points to like how the structure of things work, like the political system, and that really the financial elite families and these other, that there is this structure above the political elites, that they're not really the elites. They're taking orders from the elites. Yeah, but that's not even new information. Like anyone who's been into conspiracies and like researching how the world actually works, who really kind of runs the world, that's old news. He didn't really bring any new information out. And then everything in regards to like Charlie and Erika, I mean, he didn't convince me that he's saying things because he has like facts to back them up. It's just kind of, and I'm not the only one that said that. Okay. A lot of people that did breakdowns on the video, even people I don't agree with, said the same thing. So, I mean, you got to really kind of weigh what some people say. Not everything that one person says, you can take wholesale. It is. I did watch the video. It is interesting. I just would caution people to take everything he's saying as fact and truth. All right, let's get back to here.
Okay. And then tying that in back to the Iran question, clearly, I mean, look, I do frankly think there's been a lot of conspiracy stuff out there. However, as you testified to in your Tucker interview, Charlie was a very vocal voice behind the scenes against the war with Iran. And what I'm trying to square is why exactly that this assassination has become almost like fan fiction, in a really disgusting and grotesque way, in my opinion. However, when somebody so credible like you, who is in charge of potential exploring foreign links, I have to take that very, very seriously. So do you remain committed to this, I guess committed to an anger or a frustration that you weren't allowed to do so? And do you think that had a potential impact on the current situation that we're in?
Look, Charlie was one of the most vocal advocates that had access to the president from the outside against going to war with Iran. And at some point, we have to look at the bigger picture. So you've given me credit for being very gracious to President Trump, and I am. And I think President Trump has a lot of agency, and I think he can turn this around. We got on this topic on Tucker's program because he said, we know Trump is a smart guy. Why did he let this happen? And I said, there's two schools of thought. One is the most likely, which is what I outlined basically in my letter and what we've been talking about up to this point. The second is, if you just take a look at the totality of things that could influence President Trump's decision-making, you have the assassination attempt in Butler, that in theory, the assassination attempt in Butler is not linked, according to the official narrative, to what took place with Asif Merchant, who was hired by the Iranians to come to America, hire a sniper, arrested 2 days prior to Butler.
I'm going to let him keep talking, but if any of you guys are online or are, on X, have you guys seen any of what the rabbis I think some of them are here. Some of them are in the United States. Some of them are in Philly. They're using the Butler, PA incident where Trump got his ear pierced as fulfillment of, Old Testament, the Torah's prophecy of the one that leads the way before the Philadelphian Messiah comes, because they're still waiting on their Old Testament Messiah. We know that it was fulfilled when Christ came. They don't believe that at all. They believe really bad things about Christ and about us for believing in Christ. So they're still waiting on their Messiah. They believe that the Butler, PA is one of many things that was prophesied in Old Testament would happen for the person, the Jewish Messiah would lead the way to the Jewish Messiah. And so I find that interesting. If that was if it even really was an assassination attempt at all, or if they're just capitalizing on that event. I don't know. But yeah.
That case is shut. We're not allowed to ask any questions or see if there's any linkage between him and Crooks. We were told that Crooks was just a lone gunman, no online presence. We attempted to look into that too, and essentially we're blocked by the FBI. And I know Dan Bongino disputes that. However, Tucker Carlson himself, his own investigative reporters, dug up the fact that Thomas Crooks did indeed have an online persona. And so all I'm saying is we need to run that down because those are potential foreign links as well. As a matter of fact, Tucker's investigative journalists found some of those. So Trump's life was threatened a few different times before he even took office in a very real way, obviously the most real way in Butler. And there's lots of unanswered questions there. And then there's multiple breaches of President Trump's, security perimeter. And then we have what happened with Charlie. And Charlie was vocal against the 12-day war. He was vocal against Midnight Hammer. He eventually got on board because he supported the president. But in the lead up to Midnight Hammer, Charlie was in the Oval Office. And Brett Weinstein's confirmed this with text messages. Others have as well. People can say that, Charlie and I didn't talk, but like I said on Tucker the last time I saw him, and I can't pretend to be close with Charlie. I didn't even text messages from him, but he saw me in the hallway and we spoke a lot during the transition. He just said, stop us from getting into war with Iran. And he was there to lobby the president for that. And then after Midnight Hammer, a lot of us in the more restrained camp said the Israelis are going to come back to us and ask us to do this again. And Charlie was aware of that as well. Then Charlie is killed in September. Again, same thing. Are there links? Is there more leads to run down? All of that is stopped. And here we are with a nice clean narrative that we're really kind of yelled at for questioning, which I don't fully understand. And so if you take all those things, in totality, and I think one of President Trump's strong suits is he can take in large sets of information and he can come up with what the leverage points are, what the vulnerabilities are, and what his interest set is. And so whether or not there is some grand conspiracy or not, there is a potential that he views all of that as a deciding factor. Again, that's not my number one theory of the case, but for some people who are saying like President Trump is too stupid or too smart to fall for all of this, and I don't think he necessarily fell for it. I just think with the ecosystem that was created, I think he was heavily influenced.
Okay.
The alternative course of action is that he is under some degree of coercion. And so that's what Tucker and I were discussing there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I brought it up. I mean, this is shocking stuff. And to have somebody of your caliber with the highest security clearance who served in the United States government, who has served at the pleasure of the president, bring it up. I mean, it really troubles me. And I talked about it on our show yesterday. I genuinely dismissed a lot of this as kookery. But to hear you talk about that makes me really question whether some of my initial dismissing, specifically around Charlie Kirk, was wrong or not.
I agree. And everyone at TPUSA, and all the talking heads like Graham Allen, Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro, Officer Tatum, Gary, they know that this is a big deal. Because Joe Kent is credible and he was there. Okay. And a lot of smart people like Saghar and Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and all of us, like we have a brain. Like we're watching and listening and going like, this is something. This isn't nothing. And they're going to continue to say it's a nothing burger. And like now they're assassinating Joe Kent's character. And Joe Kent. Okay. You can't like write a better, American patriot backstory than what Joe Kent has. You just can't. It's like stuff legends are made of. And I think it's insane. And they know that this is a real issue. And so they sent out their talking orders with their $7,000 payments to everyone. Go attack Joe. Because, I mean, look, man, this points to something. It points to there being possible ties to the Charlie Kirk assassination, foreign ties. Yeah. And it points to the possibility that Trump is heavily influenced.
And you continue to believe that there was a blocking of your investigation, and that whether, I guess, some plot or not, that it created a potential impression in Trump's mind. I do want to make sure, though, on this Butler assassination, this Iranian alleged assassination attempt, Mac, we have that screenshot. Trump said, I believe, I got the Ayatollah before he got me. So does your impression here then, he says they tried me twice, is your impression that this was an actual Iranian plot? Is it an Israeli plot? Because if it was an Israeli plot, would it make sense to try and box him into some sort of attack on Iran? What's your assessment here of the actual plot itself that was supposedly or may have been tied to Butler?
So after Trump killed Qasem Soleimani, the Iranians were rather vocal. I mean, you can find most of this. I mean, they said a lot of it publicly, that they were going to avenge Qasem Soleimani by targeting President Trump. So that's known. The only person that we know of that actually was deployed to America to work on this is Asif Merchant, and we know the Iranians sent him over here. We gained knowledge. So
do we know that? See, that's what I think. Do we know that for sure? Like that's what I'm asking you. Is that was he actually sent by the government of Iran? Your assessment.
To my knowledge, he was. To my knowledge, he was.
Got it.
Now again, like intent versus capability with the Iranians,
We're going to continue this. I just was sent something. I want to show it because I think it is interesting. And if you guys don't know who M is, on X, please go over to X and follow M. This is her profile picture and her handle. Let me make sure I'm sharing it. Cool. Let me make it bigger for you guys. All right. And then I'll read it out to you guys. All right. And it says, Erika Kirk lived just 1 block away from Kanye West during their time in New York. And according to Barron, based on the documentation, the apartment building Erika lived in at 640 Broadway was allegedly owned by Windhaven Group, Uncle Alan Rothstein, chairman of Windhaven, at the time she lived there. Did the Rothsteins also have involvement in the real estate side of Kanye's 25 West Houston Street apartment? And that's how they knew each other. Or did Erika and Ye just bump into each other? That's interesting. Hopefully we can find out hopefully we can find out. Let's see. Let me go back here. Actually, I want to share this with you guys because that's kind of all Sighar is done talking about with Joe Kent and the Charlie Kirk assassination. Let's listen to a little something from the little man on the little horse.
C3. Joe Kent quit his job at the National Counterterrorism Center and issued a scathing letter designed to undermine President Trump. The letter is deeply, deeply conspiratorial. It states openly that, quote, Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Now, that is conspiracy trash. It's also kind of strange since President Trump has said that it's conspiracy trash. So apparently, Trump is so deeply, deeply enthralled to those strange, powerful American lobbies. We're not going to say it. That he.
Does anyone actually watch this guy aside from like people watching him to make fun of him or to find out what crazy nonsense he's spewing, on that day? He is so painful. His voice and his face is just so incredibly painful to watch. It's unreal. And he's clearly just a talking head for this administration's, whatever narrative. It's just so nuts. That's like all of them. That's same with Gary and Dave Rubin, Graham Allen, these fake little boys on their little shows.
He apparently has been so bamboozled by them that he's still under the impression that he's his own man. But here's the thing. President Trump is his own man. He makes his own decisions. And as per our usual arrangement, Trump's critics are cowards who are simply unwilling to acknowledge that Trump is the one making the call.
Okay, so anyone to call on Trump or call out Trump is a coward. So he's not going to do what Officer Tatum did and actually just say Joe Kent's name and then call him a coward. But he did it in a different way, a roundabout way. Anyone calling out Trump is a coward. Joe Kent would destroy you, bro. You would be crying in a little fetal position. You know what my father-in-law said, who is Jewish? He's like, Ben Shapiro is one of the little, boys that in my father-in-law's community, men like my father-in-law had to stick up for when other boys would pick on them just because they were the same ethnicity, right? Like you just stick together. And he would have to defend little boys like Ben because Ben could never, defend himself.
But Joe Kent continued, quote, early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pre-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States and that should you strike now, there was a clear path to a swift victory.
How did any woman find this dude attractive and marry this guy? Like this guy, you just want to punch him in the face. I can't. It's insane.
This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women. Again, the idea here seems to be that President Trump is a moron, misled into war by nefarious Israelis and unnamed influential members of the American media. Don't say it. Again, apparently, President Trump has no agency and no thoughts. Kent's letter is replete with this conspiratorial idiocy, including, as we just saw, the idea that it was Israel that forced the original Iraq war.
It was, dude. Have you not gone back and watched BB coming over here and saying like and Philly was the ones that presented the weapons of mass destruction? That was the muscle. They're the ones that provided it to our intelligence agencies. And then we presented it to, get a declaration of war. Okay. We know for a fact, dude, that they were heavily involved in the false intelligence that was sold to us, to our politicians, our president, and to the American people that got us into the war. There was no weapons of mass destruction. Just like right now, Iran wasn't weeks away from a nuclear weapon. They did not pose an imminent threat to our actual homeland. What a shill for Philly, dude. Just like what an obvious, just clear shill.
An idea totally and utterly unsupportable by any evidence, given the fact that the actual prime minister of Israel at the time, Ariel Sharon, opposed the Iraq war. This stuff is brain rot.
Do you know that that's a total lie? Like we could just Google and we can look up the videos of what Benjamin Netanyahu was saying and doing to get us into a war with Iraq and Afghanistan. If there was any actual proof that Osama bin Laden and some Saudi Arabian, hijackers actually hijacked the planes and flew them in, and it was this Al-Qaeda plot and they carried it out, which there's no evidence of that at all. Honestly, you just need to go do your due diligence and research it. Then I could see us looking for Osama in Afghanistan and going into Afghanistan. We had no reason to go into Iraq. None. Philly wanted us to go into Iraq. Philly did. They're the one that provided the information and the intel that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction and bio agents and fear mongering, lying. And of course, we actually in Bora Bora, we knew where Osama was. One of a freaking press, journalists went and interviewed him. We knew exactly where he was, and we let him go, and he got away. Okay, yeah. So this guy's just a liar, pants on fire. So the kind of people that TPUSA partners with and, gets up on stage to attack Candace Owens. I couldn't find the other clip that I really want to find. It's him. It's this Pastor John Amanchukwu. It's hard to say his name. And it has a blue Turning Point or TPUSA screen in the background. I just can't find it anywhere. But this is also I wanted to share.
Sin entered into the world through a question. And I want you to be mindful today of people who just love to ask questions.
So he wants you to associate asking questions with sin. It's so disgusting. This is one of the worst things a pastor could do, right? Is completely just twist the Bible to make it what you want to say. Okay, yeah, I get it. He did ask a question. Is the fruit of knowledge really going to kill you? Okay, is it really going to cause your death? I get it. But then to say he's using that and then wanting you to associate it with Candace Owens asking questions about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And he's also wanting you to associate questions with sin. And that sin came into the world through asking questions. Asking questions bad. Asking questions are sin. Anyone who's asking questions is like the devil. They're demonic. That's what he's doing. That's 100% what he's doing.
They oftentimes say, I'm just asking questions. I have a right to ask questions. I'm just asking questions. But sin came into the world because Satan, the original seducer, asked Adam and Eve a question. Genesis 3 verse 1 says, now the serpent was more crafty than any wild animals that the Lord God had made. He said to the
There's no other point in him saying any of these things unless he wants you to associate the devil, demonic behavior, sin, asking questions, Candace Owens. That's what, because Candace Owens is the one that said, I'm just asking questions. We're just asking questions. Okay. That's 100% what he's wanting everyone to do here. And it's just disgusting.
Adam and Eve by asking this question. All questions aren't good questions. Some questions are intentionally used to deceive you and do.
This is so bad. I just can't. It's so hard to watch him do this, and that people are sitting in the audience going, yes, preach truth. It's just so bad. It really is.
Make sure you get up out of the bed on Sunday morning and go to church.
All right, man. I can't keep watching this guy. All right, let's go. Oh, I wanted to share this because I think this also is super important when thinking about some very, very influential people, very powerful individuals that are in Trump's administration, were in the original administration and this one, and their real purpose and like that they may be doing a lot more of the running of this administration than Trump himself. Jared Kushner, man. Jared Kushner, the one that was sitting next to Lutnick on that 60 Minutes interview, when Lutnick starts talking how they've had the plans about rebuilding Gaza 2 years before October 7th. He's like, yeah, we've had these plans 2 years before October 7th. Jared Kushner's like visibly uncomfortable. He's like, what the frick are you doing, dude? What are you saying? Knock it off. He's like trying to get Lutnick to look at him, and like he's trying to give like nonverbal cues, like, shut up. What are you doing? He doesn't take any of the cues. And like Jared is like crawling out of his skin. It's hilarious. Go look at it. I've played it in a previous episode. But so let's listen to what and you know, Chris Christie is not like the best individual either, but I mean, let's listen to what he has to say about Jared Kushner and Jared Kushner's family.
Well,
let's be honest about your relationship with the Kushner family.
Well, let's just say I'm maybe the only person in America who
put his dad in jail.
Well, I'm definitely the only person in America put his dad in jail.
Yeah.
And one of the only people in America who have any title or position who were willing to tell the truth about them.
What is the truth about them?
Reprehensible people. All amoral. Look, I don't know his brother. But I know the father, the mother, and Jared. And
Jared too. Why is how is Jared reprehensible? I don't know.
He is the father with a softer voice.
Yeah.
He's the same. There's no difference between he and his dad.
And people who don't know
that. He would admit that.
But people who don't know who's his father. I mean,
the ambassador to France.
Yes. Yeah. But tell us who
doing
he
a heck
is
of a job,
as a
by the way.
person.
Well, his father was at the time when I prosecuted him in 2004, the second richest man in New Jersey. You know, only David Tepper was richer in New Jersey than Charlie Kushner.
Mm-hmm.
And we were investigating him for tax fraud and for FEC fraud. And by FEC fraud, Federal Election Commission donation fraud, what he was doing was as most real.
And this does speak to Trump's character as well. It does. He let his daughter marry this dude. Bro, come on. Your daughter is like, dude. Like, you're going to trust this. You're going to trust your daughter's life, her livelihood, your future grandchildren into the hands of this dude and the family that he comes from and the parents that he has. Okay. That's huge. As a father, I'm just saying, like, bro, I know you can't control your daughters and I know you can't tell them who to marry, but man, if you raise them right and they value your opinion and they trust you, hopefully she would never want to marry a Jared Kushner. And you'd never be in the situation where you'd have to sit your daughter down and be like, sweetie, this is not a good idea. But instead, not only do they get married, he's makes Jared his like right-hand man with everything going on with Philly in the Middle East. And so people's claims that Jared is silently running the administration, maybe at least the foreign policy, okay, maybe anything that has to do with Philly.
Estate guys do. They have a multitude of partnerships. They don't have one company. They maybe have 100 that own each individual piece of property. He would write checks from each one of those properties at large numbers, even though he had other partners in those properties, the other partners being his brother and his sister. And he would forge their names onto attributions for those donations so he could make larger donations and make himself more important with the political people he's donating to. That's against the law. And so we called the sister in to the grand jury to ask her whether she had ever made any of these donations, which she had not.
Dang.
Well, when he found out that his sister willingly went into the grand jury, what he did was he hired a prostitute to seduce his sister's husband, videotaped it. And then on the day of his sister's son's engagement party, an engagement party that he was going to attend, he had the videotape delivered to his sister's house so she could see her husband having sex with someone else.
Whoa, bro. That's Jared Kushner's role model. That's Jared Kushner's dad. That's the type of man Jared Kushner is. Holy smokes. And that's the type of guy you let your daughter marry. That's the kind of guy that you let into your administration, who's running your, like, basically your foreign policy. That's so bad. I don't think that speaks well about Trump, man. That says a lot.
I mean,
and he did so anonymously.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. Knock it off, dude. All right. I think there's one more. This one. Let's see. I hope this isn't the same one. I hope this is the other. Oh, wait. Hold on. I got to share it. Sorry.
Can't stop talking about Trump.
Yeah.
When your adversary's in the midst of committing suicide, there's no reason to commit murder. The result is the same. Donald Trump is in the midst of committing political suicide. We're watching it. We're seeing the poll numbers. We're seeing people's reaction. We're seeing independents scurrying away from him. The suicide is in progress.
Hold on, let me get past the opening.
And I got together and we said, we're going to replace him. So we have that he will get drunk.
I will do that. Yes.
Is it okay if we mention that before we started?
Man, I just wanted to hear that part.
It does, but it's hard. You take a lot of abuse
for doing it. I don't know
it.
where it's at in here. I thought it was just in the beginning. I didn't know that was just the clip to get you hooked.
I mean, you see so many examples of it being bad.
Well, what happens is that his obsession with his image sometimes overtakes his political instincts. So, like, instinctively, he might go, "Yeah, I probably shouldn't push on this," but then he thinks about himself first rather than the issue or the situation.
Yeah, I believe that too about Trump. Yeah. Okay. Lastly, I want to share, you guys. Did you guys see this in the Oval Office today with what's his name, JD Vance? It's pretty interesting.
Skepticism of foreign adventurism. Are you completely on board with the current war in Iran? So I like fraud czar. It's certainly what we're going to do. And look, we have to do it. As the president said, this is a problem that has festered in this country for far too long, and far too few people have actually wanted to do anything about it. That's what makes this administration different, is that we actually tackle the problems the American people have been confronting. So I'm very happy about it. And look, I think that I know what you're trying to do, Phil. You're trying to drive a wedge between members of the administration, between me and the president. What the president said consistently, going back to 2015, and I agreed with him, is that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. We have taken this military action under the president's leadership. I think all of us, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, should pray for success and pray for the safety of our troops. That's the approach that I've taken. Make it as successful as possible.
Okay, they keep spouting this like that Iran should never have a nuke. But the whole, intel that they were even close to having a nuke came from Philly. And freaking Bibi's been saying that since 1996. Okay. Weeks away, months away. And then we just bombed their nuclear program back into the Stone Age. Remember? Total success when we bombed them last year. Okay. Then how is it an imminent threat that they were going to have a nuke right now? Like, why? No. The initial response was the correct one. Rubio told the truth. Philly was going to attack them. We knew that would make Iran attack our bases and our partners and allies in the region, and maybe even some of our, I don't know, other, if we had anything else in the area. And so we preemptively attacked them. It had nothing to do with nukes. Iran didn't pose an imminent threat to us here.
There's no hesitation given your past statements.
Do any of you guys know who this weird looking dude is over here? This smug looking guy? Who is this guy? Do any of you know? Can you throw that in the chat? Do you know who that guy is to JD's left, but to our right? I can't tell Randy finding Chris Christie apart. Yeah, I can't either. Let's see. Do any of you guys know who that dude is on the right? Yeah, I've lost faith in the country and this the government as well. It's pretty sad. Vance is dangerous too. Yeah. Especially when you know that all of his money came from Palantir. Yeah. I was wondering about that guy also. Is he the in-law? I don't know. Let's see if he starts talking.
With the current operation.
What do you mean there's no hesitation with my past statements?
Given your skepticism of foreign countryism, you were a critic of the global war on terror previously.
Well, I think one big difference, Phil, is that we have a smart president, whereas in the past we've had dumb presidents. And I trust President Trump to get the job done, to do a good job for the American people, and to make sure that the mistakes of the past aren't repeated. Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Look, JD's been great. But here's the simple thing, and I have, some people, I don't want wars. I want wars less than almost anybody.
Almost less than anybody? I don't want wars. I don't like wars. I want wars mostly less than anybody. I no, you don't. That was a talking point, just like the Jeffrey files and transparency and draining the swamp and everything you swore you were going to do, and you have done not one thing. Zero. So no, bro, if you wanted wars, less than anybody, you would have told Bibi to go fly a freaking kite when he came to you. You would have told him like, you can bomb Iran. Then we're done with you. That's like the most honest response that should have happened. And the fact that didn't happen shows you who really wears the pants in this relationship. Who's really calling the shots. We felt we had no other option. We can't tell them no. We can't tell them to stop. We can't tell them to negotiate. We can't tell Philly and Bibi to do anything other than when Bibi tells us what he's doing, we say, yes, sir. Yes. Okay. Then we will help you. How we're not really in a free democracy, you guys. We're like a papal state. Like they own us. They're running the show. How does anyone not conclude that? I don't get it. It's so clear because this didn't benefit us in any way, shape, or form. The other thing, like we get like none of our, oil and other natural gas from that area. And so, but the fact that it drives the global, crude oil cost per barrel up, it affects us here. The people that it does affect is like China and Russia, India, Japan. Okay. And then what? We're going to go then it's just this whole thing in no way, shape, or form benefits us. Okay. Go watch Professor Yang and the Tucker Carlson interview. Holy smokes. So good. Professor Yang is so cool. I would love to sit down with Professor Yang and talk with him and have a cup of tea and just listen to that guy. Brilliant dude. Like, that's the kind of guy that Tucker talks to. He doesn't, other people that are, maybe considered, not good people. Okay. But we're interested. The public was interested in what Nick Fuentes actually had to say. Okay. The public was interested in what Putin had to say. Like we are all interested in the people Tucker sits down with. Ted Cruz, Huckabee. Like Tucker gets attacked for the moment he sits down with someone that these individuals don't agree with. Oh, you're platforming him. No, he's just asking him questions. What do you expect? That's what his job is. The reason why those shows did so well, those episodes did so well, was because all of us found it interesting. We all wanted to watch it. We clicked on it and we stayed the whole time. But it's all Tucker's fault.
Peace through strength. But you know what? I've watched Iran for a long time. I've called them out 20 years ago when I was a civilian that
they for sure gave talking points. I'm pausing because I'm not going to play Gary. He did a show today attacking Joe Kent some more and defending Trump. And Gary says this whole, peace through strength line. And he goes, peace through strength. You got to bomb people. Peace through strength doesn't work unless people are afraid of you. You got to show you that you're strong. You got to just blow people up. You got to do it. Freaking Gary, dude. People like Gary, Dave, Graham Allen, Dave Rubin, Graham Allen, Ben Shapiro, if those are the ones talking to Trump and saying like, yeah, don't worry, we got a huge following. All of my followers agree with us. We got you. We support you. We're for this. I could understand why Trump maybe thinks that so many of his MAGA base supports this. But all he needs to do is follow Tucker, Joe Kent, Saghar, and other honest people that are conservative Christian Republicans who are 100% against this to then find out, no, we're not for this, man. And if you watch the Wolves in Finance video from today, he is on a very, very slippery slope. Trump is. And if we do lose in the midterms and, like they do go to impeach him, he is only 7 votes away from being impeached. And then we get JD and then we probably get Erika. Honestly, I bet we do. Who else? Who's JD going to pick, guys? Throw it in. Who do you think JD's going to pick? Here, let's do a poll real quick. Let's do a poll. If JD, here we go. Wait, what? Okay. Wait. No, not a Q&A. It was supposed to be a poll. Gosh darn it. Poll. Yes, there we go. All right. I'm saying this is what the poll's going to be, okay? If Trump is impeached, will JD select Erika Kirk to be his VP? It's a yes or no. All right. Let's see. We will see the poll. All right. Now let me get back to you guys over here. Now, nice. We got 140. How many people? Outstanding job tonight, guys, on the likes. And out of 147, we got 112. That means there's just a couple more people that if you would just do me the hugest favor and hit the like and the subscribe, we definitely, can use the boost in the algorithm. Like I said, a lot of people are not being notified. A lot of people, make sure you hit the all. Okay, it'll just automatically go to personalized, but you got to click on the bell again and hit all. Yeah, let's go back here. Let's hear what he has to say. Let me see if there's any more supers. All right, if you guys have any questions or comments you want me to read, get them in as we go along. I'll read them in real time.
Liked watching the world. And they're violent, vicious people. The leadership, violent, vicious people. They killed 32,000 protesters over the last 3 weeks. They put out a memo 2 days ago saying, if you protest, we will shoot you and kill you in the streets.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And somebody said that hit real hard. And if that didn't happen, we would have had a problem. But maybe more importantly than that, he was really the mastermind behind it. And they never found somebody to replace him in terms of the genius, and knocked him out. And that was a big step, knocking him out. But if we didn't get rid of the Obama deal, I terminated it against the wishes of my then Secretary of State. He was no Marco. Against the wishes of a lot of people at the time. You remember that, Peter?
Bro looks so tired and old. I mean, I know have you guys ever seen the before and after photos of presidents? Like before, they actually are in office, like right when they get sworn in, right before they've really even started, or maybe it's even like maybe before they do the campaign, because that's probably really exhausting and takes a toll on you as well. But there's before photos and then what they look like when they are coming out. Holy smokes. It ages you. Also, I wanted to share you guys. Okay, the Sean Ryan show, he did an interview with this guy. Let me pull it up real quick. And it's totally worth watching. I'm obviously not going to play it, but I think you guys should go watch it on your own time. Let's see. How do I pull it up? And then I can show you which one I'm talking about. This one. Here. All right, this guy. Oh my goodness, why does it make it to where I can't hit the tab and go back? That's my face. All right, this guy. And his name is Michael Lester. He did one before the war started, and he gave a lot of predictions. And then, now he's doing one now. Here, let's see what he says right now.
Did that help us? Are our gas prices lower? Are food prices lower? Do we have better health care?
Nope.
Do we have better services?
Are we safer?
Are we safer? The benefit to the Americans living in America is 0 to negative. Who benefited? Israel benefited.
Yep.
So it's difficult to look at this any other way than to say we are fighting this war with our munitions and our people and putting our people at risk. Last number I saw was 13 Americans dead for Israel.
Yep. So don't make a mistake when Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and even me said that these brave American men and women in service, I know in their hearts and minds, they signed up to serve this country. However, they never foresaw, because Trump ran on no new foreign wars, no new quagmires in the Middle East. I don't think they ever foresaw, not like enlisted and like officers flying planes. I don't think so either. I think high up officers, maybe, the Joint Chiefs could see the writing on the wall and the planning was in the works, but that these young men and women who died, they didn't die in service for our country. I know in their minds and in their hearts they did. They were serving our country. Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, and Tucker Carlson, what they were saying is this war, because it's not in the interest of America, it had nothing to do with America. Really, these young men and women in the military who have passed away, it was for Philly. I agree with that. I don't think that's a controversial take. I think that's just an honest take, and I think it's a tragic one. I think that I bet their family members would agree that this had nothing to do with America, and not one American man or woman in the military should have been killed because of this. And I think, listening to Joe Kent and what he said about Charlie Kirk saying that he wasn't even for the limited strike, but he got on board because he wanted to support Trump. Okay, that was very limited, right? It was bombers, the highest stealth aircraft around. Very little chance of, a pilot, a service member getting injured or killed in that strike. And thank goodness it was successful. And I think for those reasons, he stayed and supported Trump. And I think Trump probably either guaranteed or agreed or at least gave Charlie the impression that that would be it. But Joe Kent made it very clear that everyone knew, including Charlie, Philly was going to be back asking for regime change, because that's what they really wanted. That's what they were asking for to begin with. But enough people like Tucker, Charlie Kirk, and Joe Kent were all there on, similar timeframes, talking with Trump, telling him not to do it. Well, Tucker's being investigated. Joe resigned. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. You think any of them are going to the White House to talk with Trump right now? No. Who's there to talk for us, for the people, for America? No one. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. So I recommend you guys go watch this. All right. Does anyone have anything, burning questions, concerns, or questions or comments before? Let's see. Let me make sure there was nothing else I wanted to share from my X, because I post things on there that I find very. Oh yeah. Let's. So are you guys aware? Are you aware that this is coming up? Frank Turek is going to be going back to UVU. Here, I'll let.
Plan is to address. It's been more than 6 months since my friend Charlie Kirk was murdered just 25 feet from me at Utah Valley University. On March 26th, I'm going back to that campus for the first time as part of our college tour in honor of Charlie. I'm not sure how I'm going to react to being there, but the plan is to address a bunch of pressing questions, like, is the murder of Charlie Kirk proof that God doesn't exist? And if God does exist, then why did he allow Charlie to die? And why have there been so many slanderous lies and accusations?
This is so disgusting. I'm not going to play the whole thing. You can go see it on X, but I hope I posted this right when it came out, and I tagged Brandy and Billy because I know they live near Orem. They live in that area. I hope they go and ask questions. I hope other people that live in the area that have issues with the official narrative with TPUSA and Erika Kirk. I hope people that live in just even a driving distance. If I lived in a driving distance, I would go down there and try to get in and ask questions 100%. Let me see what I like. Stu Peters. You guys like Stu?
Sacrifice on the altar of.
Hold on.
Charlie Kirk was about to quote unquote.
Let me go back to the beginning. Oh, it was.
Charlie Kirk was about to quote unquote go ballistic over Trump's Epstein ties and over the forever wars. And he was going to do that on college campuses all over the United States. And he was going to be face to face in person with college age Zoomers who hang on his every word and who would have heard in person that he was going to be forced to leave the pro-Israel cause, and they would have left with him. Meaning that there would have been a shortage in blood to sacrifice on the altar of greater Israel. Because these people, these young men would not have gone to enlist.
That's what I said. 100%. I said that months ago.
And go and fight and die or become killing machines in these senseless wars that do nothing to benefit America, our national security interests or economic interests.
You heard that they're talking about reinstituting the draft. They're going to have to. No one's going to sign up. Maybe Jessica, maybe not. Thank you for your super. There is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to people, and we must be saved by it. Jesus Christ. Yes, I agree. Acts 4:12. 100%. I definitely pointed what Stu is talking about here. I think months or at least many weeks ago, that the age group of the people Charlie was, speaking to, and he had their ears, he had their hearts and minds. That's why they had to do it at the first event. They had to do it right away. They had to do it before not one question was asked about Philly, about anything that really mattered. And they took him out before Charlie could really let the public know where he was on everything. And because this is the future of the country, this generation is the next to become adults and to enter into the military, to vote, to take up the next, to be active in politics. And so getting all these kids to stay true to Philly and to, buy the official, pro-Trump narrative, they had to take Charlie out. I mean, there's many, many other motives and reasons as well, but this is for sure one as well. Thank you, Mystic, for the super 5 gift Black Line Brief memberships. Let's see. And this is such a stark contrast, you guys. Like, look at this family and how they dealt with the loss of one of their family members, probably son and wife, and look, and dad, and so the soldier's mom and father, and then wife or sibling, compared to Erika Kirk. When we saw his Charlie's casket get taken off on the tarmac. See? Together. That's not what we saw with Charlie. Completely different. Not even close to the same. This is Dan Bongino gets yelled at for being a protector of Jeffrey. But there's some cussing in there, so I don't want to play that. I played that one earlier. This is interesting. Let's see. Her voice bugged me. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Let me get back to, my goodness, the tabs at the top won't let me click back. Here we go. All right. Let me make sure I've read all the supers. I have. All right. Whoops. Sorry. Hitting the mic. Well, that's about it for tonight, you guys. I'm just reading to see if there's any good ones here at the bottom that I can read. Yeah, JD Vance is bought and paid for by Peter Thiel and Palantir. Yep, yeah, 100%. The idea that JD Vance would get Kirked is silly. JD is already a proven puppet. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I don't know. Was somebody in the chat saying that JD would get Kirked? I didn't see that. I don't really like that term either, though. You could just say get taken out. Yeah. I wonder how many soldiers went back into the military after being kicked out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. That would be interesting to find out. Kent just got Joe Kent. Wait, let me read what? I don't know where you're saying you saw that. Scary news of true Kent just got funded by Thiel. I don't know where that came from at all. Yeah, if she ends up VP, that will be like some crazy fiction novel, 100%. All right, guys. Well, if there's no other supers before we go, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. God bless you guys. Make sure to, say your prayers tonight before you go to bed. Kiss your kids. Do your own devotional. Make sure that your relationship with the Lord is strong. The way the world is turning is really, really scary. But we have faith in the Lord and in Christ. And, I think Barron said that the next 4 days is going to determine a lot. And so hopefully it turns out not completely horrible. So we'll see. Well, God bless you guys. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe if you guys haven't. I'll see you guys next time. Get some sleep. God bless you guys.